Alrighty, so next we're going to cover your steering wheel mounted controls. Okay, so this is going to look very familiar to you if you're used to the late model Subaru. So we'll go over what each button does and the feature and the function of it. So we'll start with the left side. The left side of the steering wheel, these are going to be audio controls, okay? So this is going to be audio controls, and your selector here in the middle is going to change your driver information center. So the first two buttons are pretty straightforward. These are seek buttons, left and right. This will take you through a sequence of songs if you're listening to an album. This will also take you through your favorites. So this will take you all the way through your favorites sequentially that you have saved here for your radio. So I'll click on the radio real quick. Now this is a brand new Ascent. We only have two favorites saved, but when I hit this button, we're gonna see the selector go from number 1 to number 2. Next button is going to be source button. This is going to take you through your different bands of audio source. So right now we're on FM, and then when I press this button, the source button, it's going to take me over to AM. You can see that light up. You can see it's on AM 1080. It'll take me over to Sirius XM, which is our satellite radio. And then it'll also take us over to other media, which is going to be Bluetooth, USB, and it even still has a tab for iPhone or iPod. So that'll take you through your other media sources. That is the source button where you can go without taking your hands off the wheel and adjust your radio source or your audio source. So the next button is going to be for your driver information center, as I referenced earlier. So this is a toggle up and down, and this will take us through different information. So we have our tire pressure. Once you start driving, that will show. This is an ignition timer, and it also shows the distance driven. So we've been sitting here recording some content for you for quite some time. This will show instantaneous fuel economy on that top line where the dashes are, and right below it shows your estimated fuel range based on your fuel economy so far. So you can see this Ascent only has 6 miles, so that is not an accurate reflection of 50 miles. It will have a greater range than that, because that is based off this vehicle getting 2.3 miles per gallon. So obviously it has not been test driven yet, and that 2.3 miles per gallon is going to go up significantly, and that's going to also raise that 50-mile range up significantly. Then we also have a screen that shows our time, and then outside temperature. This shows what audio you're listening to, and this will show the name of the road that you're on, because this Ascent is equipped with navigation. And then we're right back to our compass is where we started. So that is your driver information center. That will change your information display right there. So next up, we have our controls for phone here. So this is going to be able to answer. So as long as your phone is paired to the car, when you receive a call, you're going to hear your phone ringing. You're also going to get a display here that lets you know you have an incoming call. Press that button to answer. This button will also serve as a shortcut to pull up your phone menu. So the phone's not paired right now, but when I hit this button, it's going to go ahead and take me right on over to my phone menu. Since there's not a phone paired, it asks me if I want to pair my device. So if you haven't paired your device to your car, or if you have a new device, that's a very easy way to do it. You press that button, and then it's going to, if no device is connected, it's going to take you on over to the screen, and it's going to ask you if you want to go ahead and connect the device. Next button is going to be our hang up button. So when you're on a call and you're done talking, you can press that button to hang up. Now you notice that it also has a mute symbol. So it serves also as a quick mute button. So right now, even though the radio is turned down, when I press that button, I'm going to get a feedback. So mute on, it shows you there. And it also shows you right there in your driver information center. So you get that feedback that you access your mute. This button is for your voice recognition. The voice recognition has 2 functions. One function is to press and release. This will access the Bluetooth in the car. This will enable you to make some changes to actual vehicle settings. For example, you can change your HVAC fan speed. You can adjust your temperature with one touch. You can also change some basic settings like turning certain features on or off. So I have a separate video on this where I go a little bit more in depth, and I show a few examples as well. So pressing and releasing is going to be the car's Bluetooth. If you press and hold this button, as long as your phone is paired, you're going to access the voice recognition or your assistant feature on your phone. So whether you have an iPhone or an Android, you probably know you have the ability to press a button and talk to your phone and ask it to do things for you. So whether you're asking it to call John Doe, or to read the last text message that you received, or to tell you what the temperature is going to be tomorrow in the area, anything that you normally use hands-free for on your phone, you can do it through the car itself as well, just by pressing and holding that button for a few seconds. Right below that, we have our volume control up and down. That's pretty straightforward, nothing fancy there. All right. Moving on over to the right side of the steering wheel, these are going to be controls for the cruise control as it relates to these buttons here. And then you also have a heated steering wheel in this Ascent. And this is the only button that you press from the back side as far as the buttons that we can see right now. So this is either on or off for your heated steering wheel. The only other buttons, there is a paddle shifter, plus here there's a paddle shifter there. So the paddle shifters, this vehicle is a CVT, so it doesn't have a sequential gearbox, but you can do some spirited driving and you can simulate some gear shifts. And what you would do is you put the vehicle in drive, push it over into manual. When you push it over into manual, you may notice that your selector here at the bottom, or your shift indicator, is showing that we're in gear 1. When I move it back over, it has it in drive. So when you put it into your manual mode, you can use your paddle shifters. It's going to allow me to go up to 2, but it won't allow me to go past that since we're not driving. But that's going to shift up, and this is going to shift back down to 1. So you can see 1 and 2. And then you can move it over at any time back into drive. All right, and now we have our indicator back to drive. So if you're driving and if you accidentally bump that over into drive, you can, or into manual, excuse me, you can bump it right back over into drive. It won't damage the vehicle. No harm done there. All right. So for our cruise control, this vehicle, of course, you probably know, is equipped with adaptive cruise control. Just a brief overview of that. What that means is this vehicle has the ability, when you set your speed, to automatically slow down if the vehicle in front of you is going slower. You can also adjust your following distance, and that's going to be shown by the lines in front of the display of the vehicle there. So now it's gone down to 3 lines, 2 lines, 1 line, back up to 2, 3, and 4. These are your corresponding buttons for your distance selector. So this is going to increase the distance that it's allowing for the car in front of you. This is going to decrease that distance. It's going to allow the front of your car to get closer. All right, so this is our cruise main button. So pressing this button is telling you that cruise is ready. And then when you get up to speed, you're going to set it by flipping it down just like that. Once you set your speed, the 3 dashes that are underneath are 0 miles per hour. That's going to show what speed that you have set. That speed will show as green when you've reached the speed. So when the vehicle's maintaining that selected speed, that number is going to be green, and it's going to change colors over to white when it has not reached that speed. So that's a quick way for you to know if you're going your set speed or not. And then last but not least, this is your lane centering button. So when your adaptive cruise control is turned on, when you press this button, you're going to get that ready steering wheel that pops up in the top right. Lane centering is going to use automated steering input. The vehicle is going to use the eyesight cameras here up at the top. You probably know about eyesight. It is the best safety system out there. When you activate your lane centering, it's going to do some automated steering input, and it's going to try its best to keep you in the center of your lane. So that is a feature that you can turn on or off. It does require your cruise control to be active. Your adaptive cruise control has to be active in order for lane centering to work. You can refer to your owner's manual for more information on that if you want to read up on it a little bit, or you can refer to one of my other videos as well. All right. So those are our steering wheel mounted controls. And then really quick, we have our stalks. This is pretty straightforward. This is going to be your exterior light selector. So I recommend leaving it in auto, but you can turn on kind of your marker lights or your headlights manually if you want to. This ring is going to be for your fog light selector. You can leave that on. Of course, this is also your turn signal. Okay. And then over on the right side is going to be the controls for our windshield wiper. So what I want to point out is this one that says auto right there. The auto function is going to be 1 detent down. So this is in auto, and you know, because you get 1 pass when you bump it into auto. All right, so it does 1 pass of the windshield wipers. This is your selector. So you have the ability to change the latency of the passes of your wiper blades. So this is how you do that. Even though it's automatic, you can adjust the latency. But right below auto is going to be slow and fast. So if I bump this down, this is my slow setting. And then that's fast. That's the fastest setting. The distal end of this is going to operate your rear wiper. So see if I can get it in the mirror there. So that has 2 settings. That's the fastest setting. That's the slowest setting. That's right there. If you want to activate your front wiper washer, you're going to pull this towards you this way. Sprays the wiper fluid up front. If you need to spray in the back, you twist this distal end down, twist and hold, and you see it's spraying in the rear for us.